Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great today. Sorry I haven't been uploading for a while. I've kind of been dealing with a tiny bit of family drama, and I just wasn't feeling like filming. Plus, a couple of days ago, I did just come back from Glastonbury, so obviously I was kind of on a mini holiday, so there was that as well. But I'm back now, so I'm going to be uploading some videos on both of my channels. I'm going to try and do my 5 videos a week on 2 channels, still within the past 3 days. In case some of you are blind, I have a new piercing that I'm very much a fan of. It took quite a while for it to get it ready for the size of the gauge. It's a 4mm gauge. I think the thickness is a good size. I think it very much suits me, but obviously everyone has an opinion, so I like it. That's the main thing. In today's video, I'm not going to talk about politics per se, but it's going to be kind of like a personal story that has actually changed from yesterday. So basically what happened is, I used to be best friends with this guy who started to become quite toxic to me and slightly homophobic to me. So I cut him off because I was like, I'm not down with this bullshit anymore. So I cut him off, and it was about 3-4 years ago, I think, that we did that. So I hadn't seen him face to face since we cancelled the relationship of, being friends. But I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not the type to hold grudges for a lifetime. And I've been thinking about him recently, just thinking about how he's doing, if he's okay. I went through a phase of actually bumping into him a lot, kind of within the, just within the nearest shops where I live. I used to bump into him in there quite a lot, and pretty much since we've not been friends, we haven't done that in a while, so I was actually, this sounds quite dramatic, but I was a bit like, is he dead or is he moved out? Because I've literally not seen him since, and at one point we used to bump into each other loads. My view of him had changed a lot. Instead of thinking about how he disappointed me, I started to think about, actually, he was a nice guy and he was a good friend, and I feel like for the most part he did understand me. So I kind of started to miss him in a way, and just, instead of thinking about what he did wrong, I thought about the goodness within him. And he, like I say, I've been thinking about that. I was probably thinking about it for about 5-ish months. And I was umming and ahhing about writing him a letter or writing him a card and then posting it through the letterbox of where he is, because his family wasn't really a big fan of me. They pretended that they weren't, but he told me that behind my back they were homophobic and basically encouraged Chris not to spend as much time with me. So obviously because of that, I think that's one of the reasons why he acted the way he did, because his family was like that. So in my head I thought that if I post something written through the box, then there's no chance that I'd bump into his family. But that did not go according to plan. I wrote the letter, it was in a card. I walked up to his house, and my mum kind of gave me some advice, funny enough, that maybe I should knock on his door. That way I can see him and we can feel the vibe before it kind of goes any further. Um, so after that, I was a bit like, maybe I should. And if his parents answer the door, then I'll just ask where Chris is, kind of thing. Assuming that his name is Chris, maybe it's not, maybe it is, maybe it's not, maybe it is. I'll leave that up to you. But anyway, he was very, he was a good person, like I say. So I wanted to basically have a catch up and see how he's doing, possibly rebuild a friendship again. And when I knocked on his door, I decided to knock on his door. He answered the door, and obviously he looked at me weird, like, whoa, because it's been about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. So it was a tiny bit awkward at first because we hadn't seen each other in a while, but then it just became natural and normal to talk to him, to catch up with him. And I basically gave him the card saying I was going to post this through your door, but then I thought I'd knock just in case you were here, so you could read this if you want. My number was on the back and in the card, and then I gave him kind of his old friend's number, who I am currently friends with now. So the fact that he's got some contacts, because he's quite lonely compared to most people. Like, he's only really got one friend that he talks to. So, regardless of if we work out, I wanted him to have the current number of our shared friend. But it went well. He obviously was confused at first and a bit like a tiny bit awkward, but then we did get to a point where we were very just chill with each other, like how we used to be when we were having most of the times of being good. But his family kind of came in at the last 5 minutes before I said goodbye. And like I say, his family behind my back is homophobic. So I get the feeling that they'll say things to basically not encourage him to talk to me. So it's anymore. So it's a bit of an awkward situation, but obviously I can't really help that. So whatever he chooses to do, I basically gave him an option that was like, I think it would be cool if we were to have a catch up, because I do kind of miss you. But if you're not cool with that, and if you just want to leave it for today, then just let me know that what you decide on my number. Something that I also want to address, and kind of one of the reasons why I'm making this video, is that it actually got me thinking that the typical left, so the modern left, is very toxic when it comes to people who are homophobic. They literally see them as the worst thing in the world, and they literally want you to cut all ties, and then almost they adopt you as their new family. They won't always say it, but they'll do things or express things in a certain way that's like, come be in our group and we'll accept you as long as you agree with all of the said so terms and conditions. And it just made me think that I think one of the reasons that I was so screw you at first, obviously it got it hurt my feelings, the fact that he was indirectly and a little bit directly homophobic to me. But I think one of the things that fueled that screw you, I'm gonna not be friends with you anymore, was because I was very much in the the modern left ideology of like, instead of talking about our issues, we just kind of say fuck you. And I think in certain regards that's a good thing. Like, if they do it to a point where they're literally harassing you almost every time they see you, whether it's verbally or physically, then obviously that's an actual toxic person. You've got to get rid of them. But if it's just someone that doesn't agree with LGBT lifestyle, or if they think that their heterosexuality is better than you, then... But if they kind of keep their distance, or if they just don't bring it up and don't really think about it when they meet you and see you, to me, you should still have that person in your life and just not really think about the fact that they don't agree with the lifestyle of being LGBT. And I will say that Charlie, he didn't... he never abused me in any way physically, and he didn't call me like fag or, you know, queer in like a derogatory term in that way. It was more like underhanded stuff, but it wasn't all the time. So I think that's why I'm now at a place where I've forgiven him and I actually want a similar relationship than what we once had. And it's also the reason why I think I'm feeling this way as well, is the fact that I'm very anti-modern leftist now. So the fact that I'm out of that mindset, I'm now balanced. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I say, it wasn't meant to be political, most of all. I just kind of wanted to give you a bit of an update of where I've been and what's happened in my somewhat social life. But yeah, I just kind of want to also give a bit of a clarification to anyone who's watching this. Don't fall out with people who simply disagree with your either lifestyle or your political agenda. We're all human beings. We all have a story. We all have a reason why we get to difference of opinions. As long as that person isn't making you feel ashamed of your political or just your innate mindset, as long as they don't bring it up all the time and they're not verbally harassing you or physically harassing you, then there's no harm in people disagreeing with you. We got to know the difference between a toxic person and just someone who disagrees. Okay, I think that's all I can think of for today. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe down below. I'll link my Twitter socials down below. I'll also link my other YouTube channel where I review music and I give recommendations on who would like it. Hope you guys have a great day and I love you guys.